Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Green Chile Chicken Soup. Well, it's a great time of the year for a winter warmer, and this one is not only super tasty, but also really fun to make. We're making a green chili chicken soup, and that's to say we're gonna actually make a fire-roasted salsa verde, blend it up, put it into a soup with some grilled chicken, some veggies, some beans, and some rice. It's super hearty and super filling. You're gonna love this. Today we're going to be cooking on the Yoder Smoker's El Dorado. It's a Santa Maria style grill, so that means we're cooking over both charcoal and wood. So the first thing I want to do is get a couple chimneys of charcoal going. Let's start by getting a couple fire starters going to go underneath the chimneys. We're going to fill these up with lump charcoal. First thing we're going to do is put together our fire roasted salsa. So these are the main ingredients here. We've got our poblanos, we've got some jalapenos, and a bunch of tomatillos. Those are the things that we're going to fire off on the grill. Besides that, we've got some cilantro and a few cloves of garlic. Not much prep work to do here, but what you do want to do is take those husks off, and these are real sticky and sometimes a bit dirty, so give them a rinse in cold water. For the cloves of garlic, we don't have to do much. We're just going to smash them and peel those skins off, and those can go right into the blender when we make our salsa. And for the cilantro, we're going to use all of it, leaves and stems. The stems can go into the blender. They add a lot of flavor themselves. We're just going to give it a rough chop, and then I'm going to leave just a little bit of these leaves behind, then I'm going to mince up for a garnish at the end. Let's knock out the rest of this prep for the actual soup, not just the salsa, since we're waiting on those chimneys to get hot. We're going to make some mirepoix, and that means 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, 1 part celery. We're doing 2 cups of the onion today. Keep that celery dice pretty small. And same for the carrot. We're using these fantastic heirloom black beans from Rancho Gordo today, and I simply took these, rinsed them a couple times, and then soaked them in water. You can do this a day or 2 ahead if you want. Just throw it in the fridge, and you'll see that they kind of plump up a little bit. They're not going to be squishy, but they are going to be able to be smashed, and that's going to make sure that these cook in a timely fashion. The alternative to soaking them overnight is to just boil them on the stove for a couple of hours before you make the soup, and drain them off, and they'll be ready to go. All right, we're hot to the top now. We're gonna dump all of our coal kind of in one general area. We wanna concentrate our heat on 1/2 because we don't need the whole thing hot. Might just spread that out a little bit, but keeping it all on one side. And then we're gonna add splits of oak wood to the fire, to the coals, I should say. We'll let these kind of take off, get to flaming up with the door or the front gate open. And then once they're going pretty well, we'll close this up to trap all the heat inside this firebox. All those splits have taken hold. Let's close this up and drop down our grate. We're gonna go all the way down to start with. So let's get our peppers situated over the flames. As well as our tomatillos, which are running away on me. Now the goal here is to get some color on the tomatillos and the peppers. In fact, the peppers we want pretty much blackened. We're gonna steam those and peel the skin off. Tomatillos, we just wanna soften them up and get a little color. Does not take long with a flame like this to get some color, which is great. We wanna make sure we get that color because we can always pop these up higher if we need to for a little bit. Those are looking great. So once we start to see the juices coming out of here and these are kind of getting a little bit squishy, that's when we start to take these off. Some of the bigger ones might take a little bit longer, but they've got great char on them. They're really right about where we want them, most of them. Got great charring on all sides of the peppers. They could soften up just a little bit more though, so we're gonna raise these up just to get them off that direct flame. The peppers have softened up now, So they're going into a container. Could be a Cambro like this one, or just a bag, a paper bag, a plastic bag, anything to trap the heat in there to help steam what's left of those skins off. So while those peppers are steaming, we're gonna season up our chicken thighs. We've got 1 pound, and we're hitting them with the Cattleman's Grill Mexicano. All right, make sure that rub's worked into there. Then we're going over the direct flame once again. Hit the top side with some Mexicano as well. Get some good color going on the chicken, so we're gonna give them a flip. Remember, if you feel like you want more color later, you can always flip back and forth. There's no rules that say you aren't allowed to flip these back and forth. For now, these are looking pretty good. We'll let them stay down here to get some color, and then wait until the internal temperature comes up to about 175 before we pull them. All right, we need a little bit more color going here, so I'm gonna drop this down all the way down until we get some good color on it. Now, I kind of misspoke earlier. I guess I'm so used to cooking chicken thighs to 175 that I wasn't really thinking about it in the moment. This is gonna braise in a soup for an hour. So once you've got some good color on them, they're good to come off. So since this has kind of died down, we're gonna throw some fresh splits on here so they have plenty of heat while we're cooking our soup. And again, we'll just leave this front door open to help that air kind of get the fire started. Peppers have had about 10 to 15 minutes to steam now. So what we're gonna do is we'll take off the stem end, open this up, get those seeds out of there. It smells awesome. Smoky, peppery. And then we're gonna take that blackened skin off the outside. If we've done it right, it should scrape right off. So we'll just give this a rough chop because it's going into the blender. Same thing for the jalapenos. Taking the tops off, split those open, get rid of those seeds, and then scrape off the blackened skin. So what you're left with is this nice, tender, smoky flesh of the pepper. So now let's throw everything into the blender. Let's start with our peppers. There's your cilantro and garlic, and our tomatillos. All right, throw them on the Vitamix, and we're just gonna blitz these until they're smooth. Start slow, and then as it starts to come together, we can crank it up a little bit. That smells incredible. It's super smoky. You get all that chili aroma and the tanginess from those tomatillos. Now we're gonna chop up that chicken that we grilled earlier, just into cubes. These will braise and kind of break down and even shred up as they cook into that soup. And then we can head back over to the grill and start putting this soup together. So we're actually going to cook the soup directly on top of the coals. It's gonna be the best way to get heat onto the cast iron right away. So we'll throw our Finex Dutch oven on top of here and let it warm up a little bit. I'm gonna throw down some olive oil first, and then we're gonna cook our mirepoix. Onions, carrots, and celery. I'm throwing about a tablespoon of Mexicano as well, maybe a little more. The mirepoix is looking softened up, so we're ready to add the rest of the ingredients. Let's throw in those black beans. Next, we're adding a 1/2 cup of our Rancho Gordo California brown rice. Toss in our chopped chicken, and then pour in our salsa verde. All kinds of goodness in there. The only thing we need now is some chicken stock. Our chicken stock's been preheated so that it doesn't stop the cooking process. I'm gonna fill that right up to the top with 2 quarts. Now you see off to the side we got a chimney going just to make sure that we don't lose our heat base. And when that's ready, we're gonna put this underneath the pot and let it keep cooking. Soup's been going for about an hour and 15 minutes now. Everything's thickening up. That chicken's just falling apart. The real determining factor as to whether or not this is done is going to be the beans and the rice. So when I push on a bean, it should smash pretty easy, and it does. So it's getting pretty tender. The rice, take a little taste, it's got just a little bit of bite left, but at this point, this is pretty close to done. What I want to do is just kind of work my spoon through here, smashing up some of those beans, breaking up some of that chicken, and that's really going to help thicken this over the next like 10 or 15 minutes to finish this out. Those beans will release their starches and help thicken everything up. This is almost going to have a chili-like consistency. So final steps here, we're going to add in a cup of sour cream to lighten everything up. Make it nice and creamy. I know we're calling it a soup, but really we could call it a chili too. It's certainly got chilies in it. And that consistency is thickened up really nicely. Throw a pinch of some Chihuahua melting cheese on top. A bit of fresh cilantro. And then squeeze a wedge of lime in there. Just for that tart bite. It's ready to go. Man, the tomatillos and the lime, we're surprised how tangy that is. This could use just a little bit of salt. So you could salt the whole batch now or just wait until you serve it. But a little bit more salt. We didn't really put a lot of salt in there. We just used the Mexicano. But the flavors are all there. That salsa verde is just amazing. The chicken's falling apart. The beans are great. The beans and the rice help to thicken that whole broth up. I love this one. Perfect winter soup. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments or there's anything you want to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.